Hello, YouTube denizens. David Storm here with Retro Gamers Guild, and I have an exciting new build for you for Update 44 called Warden's Resolve. I really didn't think my Warden tank healer could get any better, but I was wrong. With Update 44 and the changes to vampire abilities and BG 4v4 matches, I noticed I was taking a lot more damage and it became much harder to stay alive and heal with my old build. So I went back to the drawing board, redesigned it, and now it's a significant improvement over the previous version. This build is primarily designed for 4v4 competitive BGs and can farm massive amounts of medals while still providing huge heals for your teammates along with much more team support than the old build. Of course, it performs well in 8v8 too, but that's not the focus. The goal of this build is to secure high medal scores and win matches in 4v4. This build consistently delivers high scores, a few kills, solid healing output, a low to zero death rate, and frequent wins. Let's dive into the details. First, I'm a Breton, but as I mentioned in my previous video, a Nord also works very well for this class. Two of my friends are using the Nord version and are incredibly tanky. As a Nord, you'll have more health and resistance, but sacrifice some magicka. As a Breton, I have 47,394 health in BGs, while my Nord friends have slightly more at around 48 to 49,000. For food, we're sticking with basic blue food that boosts health and magicka. I'm currently using Solitude Salmon Millet Soup. You can run Alacare green food for even more health, but I prefer the extra magicka from Solitude Salmon Millet. Our sustain primarily comes from heavy attacks and potions, which we use frequently. With the new scribed attack skill, heavy attacks also contribute significantly to our damage. We have 64 points in health and remain a vampire, though it's not mandatory. I tested both options and there is minimal difference. Running as a vampire makes you slightly tankier, but the changes to vampire now only provide 15% damage reduction, down from 30%. This is particularly noticeable against fire-based Dragon Knights, who already deal heavy damage and hit vampires even harder. I still like Stage 4 Vamp in Cyrodiil and Imperial City for the Vanish ability after sprinting for 3 seconds, though. Ultimately, it's your choice. It won't make or break the build. This build relies heavily on damage mitigation and high resistances, so let's take a look at the gear. We're still using Mara's body pieces. It's simply too good to pass up, as it automatically removes damage over time effects and heals you when it does. The second set, new to this build, is Buffer of the Swift. We're running it on the necklace, ring, staff, and belt. You can get this gear from the Elite Gear vendor in your main Alliance city in Cyrodiil. This set provides 1 line of max magicka, 2 lines of armor, and 10% damage reduction from players. The remaining 2 pieces are the Oaken Soul Ring and Trainee Cuirass. Our shoulders, gloves, and boots are impenetrable, while the rest are reinforced, except for the belt, which is Nirnhoned. We use healthy enchants on all body pieces. For jewelry, we are running healthy traits with Tri-Stat enchant on the Oaken Soul Ring and Magicka recovery enchants on the ring and necklace. For the staff, we have a defending trait with an Absorb Magicka enchant. For skills, Deceptive Predator. This negates slows, snares, and immobilization while granting a 30% speed boost for 6 seconds. It also provides major evasion while slotted, reducing area attack damage by 10%, an invaluable skill. Repelling Trample, Scribed. This skill applies concussion, sundered, and hemorrhaging status effects while setting enemies off balance for 7 seconds. It deals 3,826 damage and knocks them back 8 meters. Use it strategically, particularly in flag games. Fortifying Banner. Activate at the start of a match and reapply only if you die. Just set it and forget it. It reduces damage by 6%, provides minor resolve to you and your teammates, heals for about 400 points every 2 seconds. While it does reduce health, magicka, and stamina recovery by 33%, we compensate with heavy attacks and potions. Blinding Flare, mainly for the 10% damage reduction while slotted, though it's great for pulling Night Blades out of stealth. Polar Wind, your spammable heal with 47,000 health. It averages 8,000 non-crits and 13 to 14,000 crits in BG, with HOTS ticking at around 2,800. It scales with max health and pairs perfectly with this build. Life Giver Ultimate, a life-saving ultimate with massive range, ideal for keeping teammates alive across smaller maps. It recharges quickly, especially as a Nord. We run the Lady Mundus stone to boost resistances, which are at 41,341 spell resistance, 43,651 with status effects on the Breton, and 38,305 physical resistance. For Nords, both are around 42,000. Critical resistance is a respectable 2,140 in BGs. Healing 1 million in matches is common, and with a coordinated team, I've reached 3.5 million healing with 500 to 800k support damage. Many of your kills in flag games will come from knocking players off the map or into the slaughterfish pond. So in summary, we have 31% damage mitigation from skills and gear, 58 to 65% damage reduction from resistances, excellent team support with heals, resistances, and damage reduction. If you don't have the scribed skills and don't really feel like getting them, the build is still viable. Just replace the 2 scribed spells with any 2 from the Winter's Embrace skill line. I recommend Expansive Frost Cloak and Crystallized Slab or Shimmering Shield. Shimmering Shield is very nice because it gives you ultimate back. Max out your passives in light and heavy armor, all your class lines, Undaunted, Vampire, Undeath, and Unnatural Movement, and also Alliance War passives. For champion points in Cyrodiil and Imperial City, Blue Tree, Duelist Rebuff, Ironclad, Resilience, and Enduring Resolve. Red Tree, Celerity, Fortified, Pain's Refuge, Boundless Vitality. Finally, a friendly note to 1vxers, please play 8v8 instead of 4v4. Medal scores are critical in 4v4, and focusing solely on kill counts without contributing to objectives detracts from the match. If you want great kill counts as well as a good medal score in 4v4, fight, kill, and die on the flag. Deathmatch, kill anywhere you want. Do whatever you want. But I would suggest sticking with the team, because if you run off by yourself, the murder ball on the other team is probably just going to make short work of you. I hope you enjoy the build. Stay tuned for some footage of the build in action, as well as tips on the new Battleground gameplay. For Retro Gamers Guild, I'm David Storm. Alright, so I thought I would start out with a video that is a death match, and a fairly difficult one, because it had very strong healing on both sides, and so it made it very difficult to get any kills. And basically the kills came from mistakes that were made, because it's not just a slaughter fest. As you can see in the beginning of the game here, both teams pretty tanky, and a lot of healing happening on both sides. We actually are at a bit of a disadvantage, I feel, because we had 2 healers. I don't think the other team had 2 healers, so they had a little more DPS. But we have less DPS, so I don't know, it I guess kind of equals out. Warpawn was on the other team, very strong Dragon Knight healer, and so I knew it was going to be a pretty tough match, depending on the group he had with him. And as you can see, for the most part, I did know we had another healer, so I was kind of being a little bit more aggressive than I normally would have. I wouldn't have left my team like that, but we had, as I mentioned, 2 healers, so I felt a little safer doing a little more offensive. So here, focused him. My trample, I think, was what got him, or my heavy attack. And so what I'm using is the trample to try to disrupt them as much as possible, hopefully getting Warpawn, which we just took out Warpawn there. We focused him and took him out. I was trying to use the trample and the knockback to disrupt them as much as possible. Some of my spells weren't going off. This was right after the crash that Zos had for over a day, and this was right after that update that they had done for that. So it was, I wouldn't say laggy because my ping was really good, but for some reason spells wouldn't go off, and I was having moments where my spells would freeze up, so it was definitely noticeable. I'm used to normal lag. Here I can see one of the teammates going down, so I hit him with an ultimate. Thankfully all the teammates saw it as well, and they followed, so again, that knockback, and we're also applying status effects with that. Here I needed to get this guy back up, so I hit my ultimate. That ultimate is amazing in situations like that when they're very close. You can see I'm doing the heavy attacks just to maintain my magicka pool, and hitting the potions when I can. I'm not hitting potions nearly as much in this match as I normally do. I went through 2,000 potions in the 300 matches that I played making this build, so but the trample does apply 3 status effects along with off balance, so it is a nice spell just to keep on people. Here we're focusing a Nightblade, goes into stealth. I thought he might have gone that way, so I hit my the spell that pulled Blinding Flare to try to pull him out. We lost one. I separated from the group thinking the other healer could maintain the group, but didn't, and wasn't able to there, so I was focusing a little bit too much on that Nightblade. So the first round went to us. And you can see the banner ticking there. Every now and again you'll get a crit on that banner, but for the most part it stays around 400 plus healing. It's not much, but what it does is it keeps the minor toughness up that the Warden gets as a passive, so that's kind of nice. There we were just talking about focusing the Sork. So I think in the next round that's what we decided to do. It's nice if you have someone in the group that can mark them. When I run some of my more Twitch DPS builds, I have an add-on that I set up with a specific spell that I can mark targets with a skull over their head. It's a nice, can't remember the name of the add-on, but it's a nice add-on. Because using the built-in tool with Q, or I forget what it's, tab I think it is. That's a nightmare, trying to make sure that you hit the right person. I'm trying to get over to my teammate there because I see him going down, but and jump down into a polar wind, get them healed up. Looks like the teammate probably kited and maybe the other healer caught him. And you'll notice that when you cast Trample, if someone is directly behind you, when it comes out of you, it creates a bubble around you that will knock people, if they're really close to your back, it'll knock them away from you backwards as well. So I use that sometimes in flag games to turn around away from someone. They don't suspect, they don't feel they need to block that trample, and they get knocked off the bridge or knocked off of, if we're in a flag game where it's the floating city where you have edges on either side, you can oftentimes knock them off the flag and knock them off the edge that way. You notice we're staying in a very tight group, so as long as they're within my flag, they have a 6% damage reduction, as well as an increase to the resistance. A lot of stuns, just kept stunning me over and over in this match. So I like this match simply because it's, as I mentioned, it's not a slaughter fest. A lot of times you get into these and they're very mismatched, and you get some new players and so forth. The other team is staying very tight. We're staying tight, so it's difficult to get a kill. Basically, you're just watching for someone to slip up and try to focus them. We're trying to weave back and forth so that we don't get focused. It's a really good practice. You'll see with better players, they'll weave in and out of each other so that they don't run off and get focused. That player kind of went out and tried to focus someone and then came back to the group. Here I'm going to probably hit if my ultimate's up. It's not. So I did a roll dodge there into a heal so that if I didn't get captured at that point, snared in any way. A lot of times to try to close the distance to a player, because my polar wind is very, it has a short distance of heal. So to close the distance, I will roll dodge into a heal to try to get to them quicker. And if you're going to get hit with any type of a snare or stun, you can sometimes roll dodge that and keep from getting stunned, unless it is the dragon claw from the dragon knight. You can't dodge that. You can see that trample doesn't do a lot of damage, but it hits everyone, and that knockback is very annoying to deal with. Ultimate's ready, so I'm going to hold on to it until I see someone that may need it. There, I threw someone backwards away from me. They immediately got back into their group, though. Here we figure we'll focus this guy. Without marks on their heads, it's hard to focus anyone specifically, because again, they're pretty good as well, and they weave in and out of each other. There, we missed an opportunity. Looked like I think it was the Night Blade, took a lot of damage there, but we still got the second round as well, but not by much, just 1 kill. So in this match, in the first round, or the second round, the other healer did quite a lot of healing. I went more offensive. And then when we look at the cup, that will give us an overall score. And that shows that I had 2 kills there. And 1.1 million healing with 447,000 damage. So, and our medal score was 6,233. Okay, so here we're doing a Crazy King, and what I tend to do is start off with a trample right away to knock them back off the flag. I get right on the flag, I'm the first one there, or at least I try to be, so that I take all of the heat, which allows the DPS to work on them. They're usually focused on me right off the bat, and so this one I could tell right off this was going to be a tough battle. Everyone was tanky. They were pretty tanky on my team as well, and I figured I could keep them alive because they weren't just instantly dying on the flag. Sometimes you'll have guys where you literally can't even get heals off on them. They go down so quickly. They just pretty much instantly die. So for flag games, 99% of what you're going to be playing in 4v4 is flag games. So building a tanky character that can do some damage. If you come in as a glass cannon into a flag game, you're probably not going to do very well. There, I almost knocked that guy off. When I come around that left corner, I always arm the trample so that it tries to knock them off. Checking to see if there's any other flags up yet. I could pull out my mini-map a little further. I've thought about doing that and just haven't gotten around to doing it, so that I can see the whole map basically in my mini-map. That would help a lot, so I wouldn't have to open up the map to look. But as you can see, I'm constantly knocking them back. We're doing some significant damage to them. Slow right there, so I hit my wings, and as soon as that disappears, I usually take off a little before it starts, right as it starts to count down, take off for the next one. Here they got wise. They're all standing next to the wall, but I get really close to the wall and I can still knock them back, so they did learn. Now there, I almost got the Dragon Knight off the edge. Just constantly keeping up those heals. I lost one there, so that's not good. And just keeping that trample going. Heals, trample, heavy attack, heals, trample, potion. Watching for anyone that might be getting low. There, it's starting, so I'm immediately running to the next flag. For the countdown, I'm watching to see if it's here or in the middle, and knocking them away from the wall. The trample is very interesting as far as how it knocks people back compared to the spear for the Templar. It comes out all around, so if someone's standing shoulder to shoulder with you, they'll go flying to the right or left, depending on which side they're standing on, of course. There, we just took one of the guys out, I believe. And so if you get up against the wall and hit that trample, it'll knock people in all directions if you're in the middle of them. So just trying to keep the pressure on with the trample. You can see the healer back there. There, time to go. As soon as you start seeing that countdown, if you will hold the flag, You want to get to the next flag. Here I come around the corner, and as you can see, I've timed that. Just keeping up those heals. And there's the trample. Knocked one quite a ways back. As long as you can keep them just constantly being knocked back like that right there, that helps take some of the heat off of the damage being done as well. So as soon as the flag starts counting down, I'm off. I go to the left. I arm that spell usually. I didn't on that because I needed to hit my wings to get around that corner. But usually I will arm that and come around to that left side. I always go around to the left because that little gap right there to the left of me, that's where I try to knock people off, right through that gap. There, that was very close. I almost knocked him off. And even if you don't knock them off, again, it's just nice to continuously keep hitting them with that because it's doing damage and keeping that, keeping those status effects. There, I almost got another guy. It's so close. If they're standing right there, most of the time they're going off the edge. If they're standing right by the flag. So I see that some of my teammates are in the middle there, but it was too late to get that flag. I think we got the other flag though. And they're getting that flag. But that means my teammates are probably getting the center flag. They run a guy off the edge. Again, just keep that pressure down with that trample. It's very nice. Hit that potion as soon as it comes up because I was low. So that helps my, not only do you hit it when you're low, but you should be hitting it all the time simply because we have low sustain, and that helps our sustain pretty significantly to continuously hit those potions. Now if we do not have the flag, then I will not be getting points when I heal. Our points come, he was just in the right place that couldn't get him. But your heals generate, you don't get critical heals in flag games. You get critical heals in deathmatch. So what you'll see is blessed assistance in flag games. A blessed assistant is a critical heal. There he went off the edge. So you can see it down in the bottom right, we had that flag, so my critical heals gave me 2 blessed assistants right there. And your points are going to come from those blessed assistants and the domination. So you want to try to get as many of those blessed assistants as possible, not to mention as many dominations as possible. So here, putting on the heat, trying to get them off the flag, but it's starting to change, so I know it has to be over here because the other 2 are on the other side. I'm already here. Arm that. It wasn't a it was my ally, not an enemy, so I just saw someone coming around and thought I would arm that in case it was one of the opponents. Just continuously knocking them back, keeping up the heals. As long as we can keep the heals and the pressure on them, they can't stay on the flag. They have to either die or, like that guy, run off. So you just want to keep that pressure up. I'm staying on this flag right now because we have people taking damage, and you want to keep those heals up on those people, like right there, before I ran off, I hit him with a heal. Knock these two backwards. Get them off the flag a little bit. Sometimes you can knock them off the flag and you'll get a little bit of a capture from it. And there's the domination. That's one of the ways that you get points on the flag. And the other, as I said, is the blessed assistance. Now, when I'm healing right there and I'm doing what's called overhealing because they're fully healed, you obviously cannot get a critical or a blessed assistance from that because it's an overheal. There was a blessed assistance. So what you're trying to do is just heal as much as possible. And from what I've noticed, from what I can tell, you do not get blessed assistance or criticals from heal over times. Like HOTS don't give it. So things on the ground and so forth has to be a direct heal. So my polar wind, every time it does the big heal, the initial heal, that's when you're going to get a blessed assistant, like right there. But you're not going to get it from the heals over time, such as from the flag and so forth. The flag does help a little bit with just healing over time, but it's not going to give you any of those blessed assistance that you need to get your points up. You can see right there I got 4. So when it crits, if all of your teammates are on the flag, you can get a lot of crits out of that. And it doesn't crit on, I don't think it crits on every single one of them simultaneously. For example, if you crit, it doesn't hit all 4. It might hit only 1. So, something to keep in mind. And here I've got a really nice lineup. Knock them back. Take some of the heat off my teammate there for a moment. And then start healing. And that's Warpawn there. He's a very strong healer himself. So between the two of us on this flag, you're not going to take this flag from us. And then we have some DPS come in. One of our teammates took that guy out. And it's counting down. Ate that Dawnbreaker. And we know it's going to be in the middle, so kind of confused me because it was showing the countdown on an area that had no flag. So there we got it again. Flag off to the right. Just keeping the heat up on these guys. Now there's only 1, so I know I can go over and join the other teammate because this guy can't take the flag unless he kills my teammate. Hit that ultimate to save that guy coming in. I think I decided just to stay obviously on that one and maintain it. So we know that this one is going to have the flag, so that's why we came to this one. There was a flag on the opposite side and one in the center, so whenever that happens, the next time you're going to get probably a flag on either side or one in the middle, but in that empty spot you know there's going to be a flag, so you can come to this area and be sure you're going to get a flag on there. Come around the corner, arm it, and let it fly just in case there's someone standing there. If you come around and there is someone there, it's too late if you haven't already started arming it. They'll usually get out of the way. So we have this one, off to the next. You can see the cauterize going off from Warpawn. And we'll just we did get the domination on that. Enough of us standing on the flag there. That was a heavy hit. Again, you just want to put that pressure on so they have to get off the flag or die. It's fine. If you're going to die, it's better to die on the flag. You get points for dying on the flag. So running off and dying in the middle of the map does not help your score. That guy right there just died on the flag, and so he will get protector points for that. So if you're going to die, it's better to do it on the flag. So as you can see, we didn't win that outright. It was timed. Regardless, 1.4 million healing and 6,475 points, mainly because I had 20 blessed assistants. So I have gotten up to 110 blessed assistants in matches, which has given me about 11,000 points score. But I wanted to show this one simply because of the you can see I got 4 kills. Those were all obviously from knocking people off the map, I believe. So just looking at some of the different healing there from War Pawn and so forth. So hope you enjoy that match. We'll take a look at one more in a different map. Okay, we got a Crazy King in this one again, and that always starts out on the bridge. As you can see coming up, that guy blocked the trample. He saw it coming. Has a pretty good tip off, but my team has a lot of DPS. Lost one there. They unloaded everything they had on us. He's taking a lot of heat, so hit a potion there, got him healed back up. Didn't really have anyone to heavy attack, so I'm trying to step in front of the DPS there so that I soak up some of the damage for them, because it's coming straight down the bridge. I know that, so I can step in front of it. There's no other flag up, so I'm staying up here. It's gone, looking around, it's not there. Find the flag. Other teammates on it with me. Now, if you have a situation like this where they're off the flag, you can hit your ultimate, and if you see I got a blessed assistance there from that because I was on the flag. They weren't, but I was, so I got the blessed assistance from hitting the ultimate. That's something to keep in mind. Again, fighting in the middle of the map is not where you want to fight. I will come heal them, but I'm going to try to pull the fight back to the flag. This is where you're going to get your points from doing damage, killing, everything else. Fighting in the middle of the map is not going to help you. That's what's going to happen right there. You're going to die, and you get no points for dying, you get no points for killing, and you wind up with very little points. Here he pulled me off the flag. That was a clever move. That knockback, if they're focusing someone and you shoot them in all directions, it makes it very difficult for them to focus your teammates. Stun, got to break free as quick as possible on those stuns. Everyone's staying together now. For the most part. There's the flag going, so I'm heading to the next flag, which 90% of the time is on the other side of the map. not up on the bridge. And it was, so. By the way, where the grass is split right there at the bottom of the stairs, if there's two flags, you can stand right on that split in the grass and get both flags. We'll see if that shows up in this. Didn't get that off quite in time to save him. And this is where the Maras comes in. You can see the Maras removing, when you get a stack of 6 negative effects, it will remove all 6 and heal you for a fairly good amount. I think it's about 5,000 when it goes off. And so it's just constantly stripping negative effects off of you. So that Nightblade, you can see I've got a lot of different negative effects on me right now. A lot of dots. And so that's where the Maras comes in handy. The damage reduction is lowering what the dots do to me, but overall it removes those effects. Took him out with a heavy attack. Just trying to keep my teammates healed up here. You can see I hit the ultimate. Actually, no, I didn't on that one. Looking for the flag, which, if it's not there, it's going to be up on the bridge. And you can see I hit them both with the ultimate all the way from the bridge. So canceled that trample. That other player just ate that ultimate from the Nightblade. Lost one. I don't think he was on the flag. Trying to stay on the edge of the flag and heal. There was 2 blessed assistants. Two flags, so go up here and try to get the guy off this one. There goes one. Knock him back. Also taking quite a lot of damage. Just trying to get my mag pool back up there by doing heavy attacks. Anyone you can move around and hit with a heavy attack you get your magicka back. Just jump into the slaughterfish there, and there's where you stand to get both flags simultaneously. It's about the exact same. You basically get your distance in between the two flags, either on this side or the other, and that way you can get both flags at the same time. And you can help maintain both flags from that position. So that's where you want to stand on that. At this point I can tell we're doing a great job dominating, so I'm just trying to get points by blessed assistance. Here I can heal and maintain both flags. And getting ready to stand right here because most likely both flags are going to pop here, but they didn't. One's up on the bridge, I believe. But we're holding this one, so. A nice dodge roll by my teammate, but it didn't help. Just too much pressure. A lot of DPS on the other team. And they're not really staying on the flag, so they're dying, and there I'm eating the ultimate there. This guy can shrug off so much damage. Like, you just watch how fast the others, even with me healing them, how fast they go down compared to how tanky you are on this one. All my teammates are going to the other one, so I figure I'll go to the other flag instead of the one that was popping up right behind me there. And I accidentally fell off. And there we are. So 8,350, 1 kill, 6 assists, 1.1 million healing, and 233,000 damage with, I think it was 39 blessed assistance, which gave me quite a few points there. So that's where your points are going to come from, that blessed assistance and dominator, but mostly the blessed assistance. So I was so busy doing Battlegrounds, I didn't get a lot of Imperial City and Cyrodiil footage, but here I saw Nightblade, and I was running around getting my quests, and I just let him beat on me a little bit there, just to see what kind of damage he has. And a Dragon Knight comes in, and for me, notoriously, they have better damage on me because, as you can see, he's fire-based. Most of them are, and so he's doing obviously a lot more damage than the Nightblade was. But so I just focused the Nightblade here, and figure I'll take the Nightblade out. I don't have enough DPS to take out the Dragon Knight, and I know it, so I just focus on the Nightblade. There, I almost bite it, do a roll dodge into a heal, hit my ultimate, I'm back up. I focus the Nightblade again, and finally take him out. I know I'm not going to get the Dragon Knight, so I just heal up and do a roll dodge into a heal again there, and decide to cut my losses and take off. So here you can see the Maras starting to strip off those negative effects, the dots that are ticking on me. I go into hiding because of the stage 4 vamp, and I'm gone. So here's another Cyrodiil clip. I was running around trying to find a fight that would showcase the build's tankiness. see this werewolf trying to take our flag, so I thought I'd engage. It's a pretty boring fight because neither of us have enough DPS to do any real damage to each other, so it's just a tanky mess there. So at one point I just stop and let him do some damage to me without healing outside of my hots going off. Just annoying him, hoping he would go away and leave the flag. A lot of times they see that they're not getting anywhere and just decide to leave, but this guy didn't. So after a second, I decided the flag wasn't worth saving. Heck with it, you can have it. I have other things to do, so I decided to take off. There, he finally realizes he's not doing any damage and stops, and I let him have the flag. The vampire is nice for running your quests out here because you can run past mobs. And so I decided to go into the next map here and see what's going on there. And head over to the flag. And right here, these mobs aggro on me. I go hit into the vampire disappearance, drop those mobs, which is nice, and engage this guy. So yet again, had a little more damage than the werewolf, but not by much. And then things get interesting, being that we're taking a yellow flag. 2 yellows show up. I think it was the Dragon Knight from the earlier fight, but I'm not 100% sure. There's the yellow. Now this guy is, I think, a Warden that showed up first. Yeah, it was a Warden. No, that's the Dragon Knight. Warden shows up here in a moment. So there's the Warden. And both the yellow and blue decided to fight me, and I noticed that the yellow Warden is taking a lot of damage and not healing himself. It looks like he's casting maybe Shimmering Shield on himself or Crystallized Slab as a way of healing himself instead of one of the most powerful heals he has for himself, which is Polar Wind. You can see here, when I knock him off the edge, off in the distance, he hasn't healed up. I was seeing if I could do a heavy attack, but he was out of range. So he's coming back around. The blue took off. And then the blue decides to come back in. Here comes the blue. The Dragon Knight decides he's had enough of the blue. And there goes the blue. Almost get that Warden. Trying to focus the Warden. Pretty much ignoring the Dragon Knight. And now, here comes the werewolf again. Now combined, they're very annoying. But I really want that Warden. So close. Got feared right there by the werewolf. He pops that shield again, and that's it. I decided I'd had enough of that. Now, what I do is I run around the corner here, and if you don't know this trick, it's a very helpful trick. Most people do know it, but you may not. And that is, if you want to head back, you don't have to use a transport crystal. Just transport out into Cyrodiil, port to Cyrodiil, and it will pull you out into Cyrodiil. Quick way out of Imperial City, and then you can port back in from Cyrodiil.